Imagine stepping into a place where silence isn't peaceful. It's deafening, where every creak of a floorboard, every gust of wind, and every shadow feels like a warning. These aren't just abandoned places. They're places where time has stopped, and something darker might have taken its place. These are the 20 creepiest abandoned places on Earth. Locations so eerie, so haunted by history or myth, that you wouldn't last a minute alone. Abandonment leaves a scar, a void where life once thrived. But in these places, that void seems to breathe. From forgotten towns swallowed by nature to structures stained by tragedy, each site tells a story. And not all of them feel finished. Whether it's whispers in the halls, eyes in the dark, or footsteps that don't belong to you, some places are better left alone. Let's begin. 1. Helltown, Ohio, USA. Once a peaceful village in the woods of Ohio, Helltown is now shrouded in conspiracy theories and urban legends. After the government bought out the land in the 1970s, residents were forced out and the town was barricaded. Locals speak of chemical spills, mutated creatures, and even satanic rituals in the abandoned church. The roads twist and dead-end unexpectedly, as if leading nowhere, or somewhere worse. Signs warn visitors to stay out. Buildings are frozen in time, and the eerie silence is often broken by inexplicable sounds. It feels like the town doesn't want to be found.
This is one of the things that, it's already freaking me out being in this area and being this close to some of these things and really kind of being like in depth in all of the things that have to do with Helltown.
Even in daylight, the atmosphere is oppressive. Dense woods loom over narrow roads, casting long shadows. Car engines have reportedly died without warning, and hikers have gone missing under mysterious circumstances. Paranormal investigators say the area pulses with strange electromagnetic readings, and yet there's no official explanation. Some say Helltown was just a cover-up for toxic waste disposal. Others claim it's cursed land, but one thing's for sure, it has a reputation for driving people out, or worse. 2. Craco, Italy. This medieval town sits perched on a cliffside, its stone buildings looking out over the barren Italian landscape like watchful eyes. Craco was once a thriving village, but landslides, earthquakes, and poor infrastructure forced its evacuation. Now the structures remain hauntingly intact, a perfect ghost town. Winds whistle through the empty streets, and locals say they've seen shadows moving behind windows. Tourists can visit, but most don't stay long. There's a feeling that something ancient still walks those narrow, crumbling alleys. Time hasn't eroded Craco. It has embalmed it. Churches, homes, and even a castle sit undisturbed, giving visitors the sense that the villagers simply vanished in an instant.
A striking feature is that large parts of the new town have completely disappeared, but the old town remains largely intact, which begs the question, why then does so much of it resemble an area from a war zone?
Historians admire its preservation, but sensitives say it holds on to emotional residue. The fear of abandonment, the confusion of displacement. There's a difference between a place being empty and being lifeless. Craco is the former, and that's what makes it so disturbing. 3. Beelitz-Heilstätten, Germany. Deep in the woods outside Berlin lies a sprawling hospital complex with a gruesome past. Beelitz-Heilstätten was built in the 1800s to treat tuberculosis and later served as a Nazi military hospital. Adolf Hitler was treated here during World War I. During World War II and Soviet occupation, the halls were filled with the wounded and dying. Now it stands rotting. Surgical tools still lie on trays. Wheelchairs rust in the corners. Graffiti competes with bloodstains. Many say the spirits of patients and soldiers still roam the halls, and ghost sightings are frequent. It's not just abandoned, it's haunted by war, disease, and death. Long corridors echo with unseen footsteps. The air smells faintly of iodine and decay, despite decades of abandonment. A maze of tunnels beneath the complex was once used to transport bodies out of sight. Now, it's a favorite haunt for those seeking a brush with the supernatural. Ghost hunters have captured unexplained EVPs, while others have fled in panic, claiming they were being followed. It's a place where history bleeds through the walls. 4. The Eastern State Penitentiary, USA. Located in Philadelphia, this fortress-like prison once housed America's most notorious criminals, including Al Capone. Its revolutionary design was meant for solitary confinement and spiritual reflection. Instead, it drove inmates mad. The cells are tiny, the hallways echo every sound, and death row feels colder than the rest. Now a museum, it's one of the most haunted places in America. Paranormal investigators have recorded whispers, shadow figures, and sudden drops in temperature. When you walk through it, you don't feel alone, and that's what makes it terrifying. Some visitors report feeling breathless or disoriented, while others swear they were touched or watched. Capone himself allegedly claimed to hear the ghost of a man he had wronged. Today it remains a top destination for those hunting proof of the afterlife, and those brave enough to wander through its cursed corridors. 5. Hashima Island, Gunkanjima, Japan. Just off the coast of Nagasaki lies a crumbling island of concrete. Once a thriving coal mining colony, Hashima, also known as Battleship Island, was abandoned in the 1970s. What's left looks like a war zone. Shattered buildings, rusted machinery, and staircases that go nowhere. The ocean pounds its edges relentlessly as if trying to reclaim it. No one lives here now, and those who visit say the silence feels artificial, like the island is holding its breath. Featured in films like Skyfall, the island has become a symbol of post-industrial decay. Entire apartment complexes rot with dishes still in cabinets. Playgrounds rust in the wind. The ghosts of laborers and lost lives seem etched into the crumbling concrete. Nature may have claimed it, but the memories refuse to fade. 6. Kolmanskop, Namibia. Emerging from the Namib desert sands, Kolmanskop is what happens when the desert reclaims its own. This ghost town owes its existence to a chance diamond discovery in 1908. It quickly became a booming diamond mining town in the early 1900s. Fueled by incredible wealth, Kolmanskop was built by German colonial settlers with all the luxuries of home, including a hospital, bowling alley, and even Africa's first X-ray station, used partly to detect diamond theft. It was an improbable oasis of European architecture and amenities. But when the diamonds dried up, and richer deposits were found further south, the town's fate was sealed. Decline began after World War I, and by 1956, Kolmanskop was abandoned. The desert moved back in relentlessly. Today, its buildings are half buried in sand. Staircases lead to nowhere. Doorways open into dunes. It's now a popular tourist site, offering a dreamlike place, beautiful and haunting all at once, a stark visual metaphor for fleeting fortune. 7. Bodie, USA. High in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California is Bodie, an authentic Wild West ghost town. In the late 1800s, it was booming with miners, gamblers, and outlaws. Then, just as quickly, it emptied. Today, everything remains. Plates on tables, stores stocked with goods, school books on desks. It's a perfect time capsule, and that's what makes it so creepy. Locals say anyone who steals from Bodie is cursed. Tourists have mailed back stolen items with apology letters.
Many objects such as nails and rocks have been sent with letters back to Bodie from past visitors claiming to have been cursed. These letters can be found on display in Bodie's museum.
It's not just abandoned. It's protected by something you don't want to mess with. Wind whistles through broken shutters, and the buildings seem to groan under the pressure of memory. Park rangers tell stories of shadowy figures in windows and unexplained cold spots. Time may have stopped here, but the past is still very much alive. 8. Hotel del Salto, Colombia. Built in the 1920s to welcome wealthy travelers, this grand hotel sits perched on a cliff near the Tequendama Falls. As tourism declined, it was left to rot. But the real darkness comes from its reputation as a suicide site. Many jumped from its balconies drawn to the roaring falls below. Now overgrown and eerie, the hotel is said to be filled with spirits of the lost. Visitors report cold spots, whispering voices, and the overwhelming urge to leave. Some say the falls are cursed. Others believe the hotel amplifies the despair of those who enter. Even its architecture seems twisted by sadness. Restoration attempts have been made, but locals argue it should remain untouched, a grave marker for those it couldn't save. Fog often blankets the structure, giving it a ghostly aura. Inside, mold consumes the ornate wallpaper, and staircases crack beneath your feet. Paranormal investigators have recorded sudden battery drains, violent chills, and even laughter echoing from empty rooms. There are rumors that those who stare too long into the gorge feel a strange pull, an invitation they can't explain. Whether it's grief, ghosts, or gravity, something here wants you to jump. 9. Bannerman's Castle, USA. On Polapel Island, in New York's Hudson River, sits the remains of Bannerman's Castle, once an armory built to store weapons and ammunition. It was damaged by explosions and fire and eventually abandoned. Now nature claws at its stone walls. Windows are shattered. Staircases end mid-air. Rumors swirl that unexploded ordnance still lies hidden within. Tour boats circle it, but few dare to go ashore. Lightning has struck the ruins more than once, adding to its ominous aura. Despite safety efforts, parts of the castle continue to collapse, as if even the earth wants to erase what was once stored there. The island itself feels detached from reality. Visitors have described sudden mood swings and nausea upon arrival. Birds avoid nesting here, and compasses have been known to behave erratically. Inside the castle ruins, Voices have been heard behind sealed rooms. Some claim to see uniformed figures peering through crumbled slits in the walls, remnants of the arsenal's violent past. Others believe the ghost of Frank Bannerman himself still guards what's left. It isn't just decaying, it's defending itself. 10. Maunsell Sea Forts, England. Rising from the waters of the Thames estuary are bizarre metal towers, the Maunsell Sea Forts. Built during World War II to defend against German air raids, they now stand rusted and empty. The sea groans beneath them. Birds circle their tops. Some have collapsed entirely. At night, with fog rolling in, they look like alien machines frozen in time. Standing on one feels like being marooned in a nightmare. Explorers describe eerie creaks, strange electrical interference, and feelings of being watched. Some even claim to have seen lights and towers long thought to be lifeless. Whatever remains inside, it doesn't want to be forgotten. Steel walkways between towers sway with the tide, groaning with every gust of wind. Graffiti from past visitors overlaps with rusted warning signs, some of them too faded to read. Inside, decay meets stillness. Rusted chairs sit under empty gun mounts, and radios crackle without signal. Unofficial attempts to live there, by pirates, micronations, and even squatters, never last. The sea fort rejects permanence. It isolates. It watches. And if the tides rise high enough, it just might reclaim what's left. 11. Humberstone, Chile. This saltpeter mining town in the Atacama Desert was once a bustling hub of commerce. But when synthetic alternatives were developed, its industry collapsed. Everyone left. The desert stayed. Buildings remain intact, but the wind moves through them with unsettling ease. It feels like the whole place is waiting. The silence in Humberstone is louder than most cities. Classrooms still hold chalkboards with half-written lessons. Theater seats face an empty stage. Rusted machinery rests where it stopped decades ago. Visitors have reported hearing voices or music with no source, as if the town is playing out echoes of its final moments. The air is dry and heavy, preserving everything, even the ghosts. Locals believe the spirits of workers still roam the ruins, tied to the place by the brutal labor conditions they once endured. At night, temperatures drop sharply, and so does the feeling of safety. Doors creak open on their own. Footsteps echo across sand-blown courtyards, and shadows seem to linger longer than they should. Humberstone may be silent, but it's not empty. 12. Shicheng, Lion City, China. Beneath the waters of Qiandao Lake lies Shicheng, or Lion City. Built over 1,300 years ago, it was submerged in 1959 to make way for a hydroelectric dam. But unlike most lost cities, Shicheng is perfectly preserved. Walls, statues, and gates remain untouched. Divers report an eerie stillness. Fish dart through doorways. The city sleeps beneath the surface, trapped in time. Submerged 100 feet below the surface, Shicheng has retained its intricate carvings and ancient architecture. Divers call it both beautiful and unnerving, a sunken ghost city frozen in mid-breath. Some believe it holds spiritual energy, others just feel watched beneath the waves. Artificial lights used by divers often flicker or dim unexpectedly, adding to the surreal nature of the descent. Bubbles drift slowly past stone dragons and preserved temples. Even the sound of your own breath becomes overwhelming in the absolute silence. It's as if the lake itself is guarding the city, allowing only brief visits before gently pushing you back toward the surface. 13. The Sathorn Unique Tower, Thailand. Bangkok's Ghost Tower was supposed to be a luxury skyscraper. Construction halted during a financial crash in the late 1990s. Now it stands unfinished, 49 stories of concrete silence. Locals believe it's cursed, and some say haunted by those who died inside. Few dare to explore beyond the lower floors. The higher you go, the colder it gets. And sometimes people say you hear footsteps that aren't yours. Suicides, squatter deaths, and urban legend have all swirled around this skeletal monolith. The walls are stained with water damage, graffiti, and perhaps something else. Paranormal investigators have described seeing figures moving between floors that should be empty. Even the air feels wrong, thick with something unseen. Security guards report strange noises from upper levels, including banging doors and voices with no source. Urban explorers have left the tower in tears or in complete silence, unwilling to speak about what they experienced. The building's frame may be unfinished, but the fear it inspires is very much complete. 14. Fordlandia, Brazil. In the heart of the Amazon, Henry Ford tried to build a utopia. He wanted a self-sufficient rubber town to supply his car empire, but disease, poor planning, and cultural clashes doomed it. The rainforest took it back. Buildings crumble under vines. Roads lead nowhere. Fordlandia is a cautionary tale written in moss and rot. The jungle here feels alive in more ways than one. Locals speak of strange sounds at night and sudden shifts in weather. The few remaining structures groan under humidity as nature tightens its grip. It's more than forgotten, it feels punished. Wild animals now roam freely through once carefully planned streets. Rusted American machinery lies half swallowed by vegetation, a reminder that ambition means nothing in the face of nature. Legends tell of workers driven mad by isolation and heat, and their rage still echoes in the swaying trees. 15. Villa Epecuén, Argentina. Once a thriving spa town, Villa Epecuén was submerged when a dam broke in 1985. Salt water covered the entire town for 25 years. When the water finally receded, it revealed a whitewashed skeleton. Salt-encrusted trees, collapsed hotels, streets lined with decay. It looks like the aftermath of an apocalypse, and it feels like one too. Even in the sunlight, the landscape glows ghostly white. Tourists report headaches and nausea, some say from salt, others from something more unnatural. It is a place where grief has crystallized. Crumbling murals peek through layers of salt like memories refusing to fade. The town has one lone former resident who returned to live among the ruins. He claims to hear voices at night, whispers of a time before the flood. But the real terror is the silence that follows. A silence that knows everything you bring with you. 16. Houtouwan, China. On Shengshan Island, this once thriving fishing village was abandoned due to isolation and economic shifts. Now, nature has claimed every inch. Green vines swallow homes. Trees burst through rooftops. The jungle walks where people once lived. It's beautiful and terrifying. Like the earth decided to erase us. Every window now frames a wall of green. Footpaths once swept clean now crack beneath moss. The silence here isn't empty, it's triumphant. Visitors say they feel like trespassers, because here nature isn't just reclaiming, it's winning. Some explorers have lost track of time inside, disoriented by the overgrowth and winding paths. It's easy to believe the forest is alive, and doesn't want you to leave. Houtouwan is less of a ruin and more of a warning. 17. Zone of Silence, Mexico. In northern Mexico lies a desert where strange things happen. Radios stop working, compasses spin. Locals talk of glowing orbs, strange figures, and government cover-ups. Some believe it's a magnetic anomaly. Others say it's something far older and less explainable. Scientists can't fully agree on what causes the effects. But one thing is clear. People who visit often feel like they're being watched. Some claim it aligns eerily with other mysterious locations on Earth, like the Bermuda Triangle. Meteorites frequently fall here, and local animals show strange mutations. The land resists explanation, and that makes it dangerous. Hikers have reported losing time, finding themselves miles from where they started without memory of the journey. The air itself feels thick and charged, and every so often, distant lights blink across the dunes, without any source. 18. Beichuan, China. In 2008, a devastating earthquake struck Sichuan province. Beichuan was one of the hardest hit. Thousands died. The town was left in ruins. Instead of rebuilding, officials preserved it as a memorial. Twisted buildings, collapsed schools, crushed cars. It stands as a haunting reminder of how quickly everything can vanish. The city is eerily silent. Street signs still stand, pointing to homes that no longer exist. Dolls, backpacks, and photos lie undisturbed, relics of lives taken in seconds. You don't visit Beichuan to explore. You visit to mourn. Even the birds avoid flying overhead. Wind rustles torn flags, and water stains mark walls like permanent tear tracks. Survivors speak of hearing children laughing where no one plays. Beichuan is sacred, and unsettlingly alive with memory. 19. Mirny Diamond Mine, Russia. In the frozen depths of Siberia lies a hole so massive it disrupts the sky. Nearly a mile wide and over 1,700 feet deep, the Mirny mine was once a thriving diamond operation. Now it's abandoned, a giant scar on the Earth's surface. Birds reportedly get sucked into its vortex. Helicopters are forbidden from flying over it. Some say it looks like the Earth is staring back. Standing at the edge gives the feeling of vertigo and dread. It's an abyss without bottom, and the winds that howl from within seem to carry voices. A man-made void so deep even light hesitates. The pit hums at night, according to nearby residents, a low, resonant sound like breathing. Some believe the mine taps into something older than rock, deeper than industry. Whatever it is, no one wants to fall in. 20. The Great Train Graveyard, Bolivia. Near the city of Uyuni, In Bolivia's high desert lies a collection of rusting trains. Once the pride of the nation's mining routes, they were abandoned when the industry collapsed. Now they sit in silence. Graffiti-covered, sun-baked, and sinking into salt. A surreal metallic wasteland that feels like a movie set from a post-apocalyptic future. At night, the wind whistles through the hollowed-out engines like mournful cries. Some claim they've seen phantom lights move between the trains. Others hear the echo of horns long silenced. It is a place where machinery died, and memory lingers. Local legends speak of a phantom train that still roams the desert, visible only on moonless nights. The metal groans under the weight of time, and travelers who linger too long report disorientation and vivid nightmares. The graveyard may be still, but it is far from dead. These places aren't just abandoned. They're trapped between worlds, between the past and the present, between the real and the unknown. Some hold history, others hold secrets. But one thing is certain. You wouldn't last a minute alone in any of them. If you enjoyed this journey through the eerie and unexplained, hit that like button, subscribe for more haunted discoveries, and tell us in the comments which abandoned place creeped you out the most. Because sometimes silence doesn't mean peace, it means something is still listening.